Thank you for being with us again on the MegaCast. A lot of people working from home today because of the snow, and we're all used to it now. But one person who still managed to shovel out his driveway and make his way into work, Craig Bryson, with us here on the MegaCast with the Oakland County Road Commission. Great to have you with us, Craig.
Thank you. Great to be here.
You know, it probably wouldn't look so good to some of your drivers if you work from home today.
That's very true. They're out spending long hours out in this weather. So, yep, that's true.
It is crazy. You know, Craig, I have to say, my husband last night was kind of laughing. And I want to remind him, he does sports. He's never had to be one of those people to stand out for hours on end during one of these crazy snowstorms. So he gets the ruler out last night. He's like, 8 inches. That's not that much. We're okay. He's not up there this morning shoveling it, you know, but it is a lot of snow, even though we were lucky in the fact that it is a lighter, fluffier snow. Does that make it easier for your road crews?
It absolutely does. When it's real heavy, wet, it's a lot more wear and tear on the trucks to push that kind of heavy, wet snow off the road. So we will definitely take this.
So with that, give us your plan of attack on a day like today. At least
Sure.
The weather people got it right?
They did, which they have not done with a lot of consistency so far earlier this year. So we're glad to see that, I guess. But so we first came in about 1 a.m. This morning. We had our trucks in, and we went to full run coverage almost immediately, which is 106 trucks. And, just started hitting it hard. The biggest challenge we had was that we had snow coming down at about an inch an hour for a while, which is when it's snowing that hard, it makes it look very quickly like we haven't been out there. We can plow a road and, within an hour, you got an inch of snow on it. 2 hours, it's 2 inches. It looks like we haven't been there. So it was really hard. We feel like we're treading water when it's doing that. So.
And 106 trucks, it sounds like a lot, but how many miles of roadway are you trying to clear?
That's a great point. So we have 2,700 miles of our own road and then 240 miles of state highways, which is mostly the multi-lane freeways. So, yeah, it's a lot of road to cover.
I went out this morning because I had to get my punch keys. And I will say it was pretty good once you got on the main roads. It was, for most of us getting out of the neighborhoods and subdivisions.
And that is still our challenge. We've just begun to do the subdivisions. We've actually got, of those miles of roads, around 1,300 miles are subdivision streets. And, safety dictates we first address the roads with the most traffic moving at the highest speeds. So we start at the freeways and work our way down. And the subdivision streets with the least traffic at the lowest speeds are the last we get to. And, with 8 inches of snow, that can be, prevent some people from getting out of their driveways. So we appreciate that, and we're trying to get in as quickly as we can. But it's going to take us at least a couple of days to get all the subdivision roads cleared out and good to go.
And the other big thing that I noticed this morning, the drifting. It was, because you would have snow a few inches deep, but then in other areas, it was well over a foot just because of that wind.
Absolutely. We had two big problems in addition to just the snow. We had two big problems overnight, and one of them was the wind. It just kept blowing the snow back onto the road. In a couple of occasions, it actually blew the snow off the road, which was nice, but it wasn't most of the case. But the other problem we had was the temperatures. It was down in the single digits in most parts of the county, and the salt doesn't work. Of course, when we have 8 inches of snow, it doesn't do any good to salt on top of the snow anyhow. You have to move the snow out of the way first and then salt. But we basically stopped salting until the sun came up this morning. We had most of the heavy snow moved, and the temperatures came up and then started salting again.
So as you go through the day, will the crews be able to go home, eat some punchkis, get a break before they have to come back in and continue on? Yeah,
in fact, our policy is they can work up to 16 hours, and they have to take at least a 5.5 hour break. So a lot of those people that came in, I can't do the math that quick, but came in at 1 o'clock in the morning are going to be leaving, this afternoon, early evening to go back and get some rest. And then we'll have a smaller crew on until those people get rested and come back, and we'll hit it again real hard trying to clean up things before the next snowstorm comes in.
Well, before we get there, I will say, so, I've been out with some of the snowplow crews before. I think I've gone out with like Detroit drivers and this, that, and the other in the past. And One thing that I think is good this year is a lot of people aren't on the roads like they normally would be because of the pandemic and so many people working from home. Is that aid in what you're trying to do out there?
Absolutely. That's been a big help. While the traffic has picked up a little bit in recent months, it's still, as you know, it's not where it was pre-COVID. And it used to be, during normal non-COVID times, during morning rush hour, our trucks can just sit there in traffic and not do anything. It's actually very ineffective to have all of our crews out just sitting in bumper to bumper traffic in rush hour. Now we can at least get something accomplished during rush hour. It's not as much as we can get during the middle of the day or during the middle of the night, but at least our trucks can move and we can get a lot more done. So yeah, that has definitely helped this morning.
But you still have those drivers that act like they've never been in snow before and get pretty close to the snow trucks and the snow plows as well. I've seen them. I'm like, what are you doing? Move over.
Absolutely. And we had, unfortunately, an unfortunate case this morning where somebody rear-ended one of our snow plows on I-75. And, fortunately, both the driver and our driver, walked away without any serious injuries. But the motorist car was totaled. I mean, you don't do well when a car hits one of those big orange trucks. And he was just tailgating and got too close and hit the truck. And we're just constantly trying to remind people, don't crowd the plow. And the reasons for those are big pieces of equipment. They take a lot of space to turn, to slow down. And if a car hits one, the car does not win that collision. The car comes out in much worse shape. So please, for your own safety, don't crowd the plow.
So we have had a pretty mild winter so far, but now it looks like we're going to get hit again later this week. How do you prepare for that when it comes to your crews?
Well, this is really tough coming, right on the heels of this one. And, prior to this storm we were out Friday night, all night Friday into Saturday. We had just enough of a dusting of snow to make things a little bit messy. So then the crews had, basically Sunday during the day to rest, and then they're out again at Monday, 1 a.m. Monday morning. So there's been very little rest in this last couple of days, and we anticipate for the next week. So that is particularly tough on the drivers. And to their credit, they take this very seriously. Many of them see themselves kind of like first responders, and they see it as a real public service, and they're very enthusiastic about doing it, and they know there's going to be long hours. Doesn't make it any easier. They still miss family events. They still miss, the time they have at home. They miss sleep, so it's tough. And we have to try to logistically balance that. We bring in other people who don't normally drive trucks. Some office staff actually go out and get in trucks. We hire part-time people in the winter to augment the truck driver staff. But it's a real logistical challenge. It's a human challenge. That's probably one of the hardest things about the winters here.
Can you supplement the crews with private companies at all?
We do. We have a number of private contractors on call. The threshold to call them in is usually 6 inches of snow. So if we get more than 6 inches, we call them in. So they are in right now helping out clearing the back roads for us. So that helps as well.
I'm thinking like 6 inches of snow. It's so much though when you're out trying to shovel your driveway or also, walking the dogs. I always feel for these little dogs.
Oh,
they can easily get lost in this, right?
Right.
So with that, if someone is out, they see one of your crew members, if they're stopped at the coffee shop, do them a favor, get them a hot coffee, say thank you to what they are doing, because it's like what you said, Craig, they're working around the clock and they're doing it away from their families. So
they are. Yeah. And not only is it a long, it's tough to drive in the worst possible conditions with a huge truck, for 16 hours. So I absolutely appreciate those sentiments.
And with that too, Craig, how has it been for you and the road commission right now during the pandemic and trying to get enough employees?
It's actually been tough. Every year we do, hire part-time seasonal employees to help out in the winter. And we've had a real tough time this year getting people to come in that have the proper driver's licenses and some experience driving a big truck. Much harder than in recent past years. So that's been a challenge.
So what is the hiring process like?
We post on our website. We send out media releases, and any way we can spread the word that we're hiring, we let people know. And it's really for what it is. It's a great paying job. $20 an hour to start. 20 hours a week or so, sometimes more. And if we need them in additional hours. But if you're looking for part-time work, you have a commercial driver's license with an A designation. It's a great gig, and we invite anybody that's interested to give us a call.
Most definitely. Hey, Craig, my husband was shaking his head at me this morning because I was originally going to try to take my smart car out to get my punchki because it had been sitting in my garage. I didn't have to shovel off the snow. And he looked at me like, that car's not going to make it out of the driveway.
Probably not a good call today. I can appreciate that, having had some small cars.
I know, but I want to say I just hate shoveling, brushing the snow off of the cars. And with that, too, you see so many drivers who don't do the top. And then it blows off of their top onto other drivers and stuff. So would just be a little bit considerate this morning. Take a little bit additional time to clear off your car as well. Craig,
Absolutely.
Great talking to you as always.
Likewise.
Anything quickly that you want to add before we let you go?
Just to remind people to still give themselves some extra time to get where they're going. Better to take your time and get there safe than rush and run into the back of a snowplow or something like that. So please slow down, take your time.
And don't crowd the plow. How many times have you said that in your career?
Oh man, thousands and thousands probably.
Well, and it's sad, we always still need that reminder because, if people weren't having the accidents and weren't doing the things that they shouldn't be doing during these snowy winter conditions, we wouldn't have to remind them. So great to have you with us, though. We appreciate your time.
Thank you. Great to be with you and appreciate all you're doing.